What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel, and we're doing a lot of videos inside the office lately because it has been so cold. Haven't been able to get out there and go fishing, but the weather is about to break, so I'm excited that I'll be able to get back out there as long as the ponds are frozen. It's that time of the year. It's just that time of the year. But I wanted to talk to you today about something that I really feel like you need to have in your boat. It's a product that is made in America. It's made by a buddy of mine, Doug, in the Fredericktown, Missouri area. And it's called the Auto Retrieve. I've done a video or two about this in the past, but I feel like it needs to be brought to the attention of people every so often because it is such a unique and time-saving product. So what this is, I'll explain it to you real quick. It is a lure retrieval system that automatically retrieves the line. Your lure retriever, such as the Hound Dog Retriever, the Jewel Hound Dog Retriever is one that it comes with, or you can buy it along with this. Phil Crowfoot makes a 44 mag, which is another good lure retriever, but the lure retriever ties onto this right here. And it's retractable. So what it does, let's see, I'll show you how it sets up on your boat. So let's just pretend that this is the deck of your boat. It's gonna sit underneath the deck of your boat like this. So all that's on the top is this little nipple. And you got this washer and this little nipple. So essentially this black part is underneath the deck of your boat. Now, I've had people say, well, why do I need this thing when I've got a lure retriever on an old reel that's on, you know, a sawed off rod? Why would I even need this? Well, let me tell you. First of all, this sucker is way more handy. The problem you have with the traditional reel on the rod is it's always in your rod locker when you need it, or it's laying in the floor of your boat. And, you know, things happen quick. You get hung up. A lot of times it's windy. You got boat traffic getting pushed around. So you gotta retrieve that and get it up on the front of the deck. Secondly, it takes two hands to operate that reel. You got to push the button, you know, you got to pull, get some slack out of the rope. I wish I had one of those so I could show you what I'm talking about. Most people know. I threw mine away once I got this Auto Trive. And then once you do clip that on your line and you run it down, you're constantly trying to get slack off of your reel, and you got to put pressure on it. So it's a two-person job or a two-handed job. And then once you do get that bait undone, you've got to pull it up, unclip it, and then you got to reel it all back in. Where the Auto Retrieve, as soon as you're done with the lure retriever, it sucks back up by itself. You just kind of feed it the line, and it automatically takes care of itself. It's like having another hand in the boat. Another thing that's really nice about this is it's secured underneath the boat. It's not in the way on the deck. You know, the reel on the rod, it wants to bounce around. You can put it in your foot pedal tray and it's kind of secure, but you start hitting some waves and it's going to bounce around. That's why most people end up putting it on the floor of their boat, you know, in the cockpit area. And you're not fishing in the cockpit area. Whenever you go to need it, when you need it, it's out of the way, or it's gone. It's not where you need it. And the other thing that's really convenient about this is, so I've got mine right by my trolling motor. It's right up there on the front deck. It's always right there. When the wind's blowing, you got boat traffic pushing you towards the bank, you just reach down and grab it. And I'll go up in the boat here in a minute. I'll show you how I've got it set up. But you just reach down and grab it. You pull your lure retriever up, clip it on there, drop it down. When it's done, boom, you pop it off. It's a one-person job. It's super handy, and it saves you a lot of time. It keeps you from breaking stuff off, because a lot of times when we don't have access to a lure retriever, we are going to do some stupid stuff. You know, I've seen people untwist their reel and take their rod and slam it down the line, try to pop it off. Or you know, we've all done this where we get pretty close to a bait that's hung up and we poke it with our rod tip. Well, you're going to end up breaking your rod tip. You're going to break that insert out. With this Auto Trieve, it's right there. So I don't even do that anymore. Even on something I can see, I just grab that Auto Trieve, clip it on there, and go down there and just knock it off. It's super quick, simple, and easy. It keeps you from breaking your rod tip or breaking the inserts out of your rod guides. But you're not going to do that if you have to go through that whole process of pulling out the reel and the rod and pulling all the line off of that. You're just not. It's just too much work. With the Auto Trieve, it's not that much work at all. And then some people like that big long telescopic pole. The only advantage of that thing is if you're squirrel fishing and you launch a bait up in a tree and you got a 16-foot extension pole to get your bait out. Other than that, in my opinion, those things they're not worth having. I would much rather spend the money on this Auto Trieve because it's gonna pay for itself. Usually it pays for itself the first time you go out. Last time I got to go fishing, I was throwing a Mega Bass Vision 110 and I got it hung up probably like 4 times.
I think it saved me, what, this is a $20 jerk bait. I've got it unhung 3 or 4 times with this Auto Trieve. So, 60 bucks. It's about what it cost. So, paid for itself in one day.
And I used this Auto Retrieve and got it back every time. So right there, it paid for itself. I think it's around 60 bucks. So the hardest thing about the Auto Trieve is you have to drill a 1/2 inch hole. I think it's a 1/2 inch hole in the deck of your boat because this does sit underneath it. That's probably the hardest thing to do, but there are a couple options. Some people will actually just drill that hole in their trolling motor pan, their recessed foot pedal tray. So that's a little easier on the mind than drilling through fiberglass. I had no problem drilling through my aluminum boat and I got it set up outside of the pan. But if you can't do that, you can put it in the trolling motor pan, which is fine. And they just came out with a new version that has a clamp type of system. It's like a zip tie and it zips around your seat pedal. So if you're somebody that, your seat pedestal. So if you're somebody that has a butt seat on the front deck, they've got it rigged up now where you can just zip tie that, or I'm not sure exactly how the system works, but he's got it set up to where it will mount to the butt seat. So you've got it right underneath you and you don't have to drill a hole in your boat. But it's a really unique product. Man, I really, it's kind of disappointing that when people buy a new boat that the manufacturer or the marina doesn't outfit the boat with one of these, because it's not that much money and it saves a ton of money. Like I said, my buddy Doug is the one that makes it. It's American made. He puts these together himself. He gets the spring, there's a spring, the trout line, this plastic casing, it's all in America, made in America, and it's assembled in America. And I have not heard of anybody that has purchased this, installed it on their boat, say that it was a dumb idea or it wasn't worth the money. Everybody that gets one of these, they absolutely love it. So I'm gonna go upstairs and we'll go out in the garage and I'll show you the one I've got mounted on my boat. All right, we're making our way to the boat out here in the garage. This is my little tackle storage area, Christmas gift. Got the rod holder or whatever you call that. It's pretty handy, but obviously I got a lot more rods than that, and I got a ton more in the basement. Here's the boat in the garage. Garage is still a mess. Just doing some cleaning. I had all this crap in here, believe it or not. Somehow all that fit in there. So that's called, like, every time you go to the bait shop or Academy or Bait Works or wherever you go, you grab a little bag and you just kind of throw it in the boat. And over time, you get a plethora of things that you probably don't need. So we haven't been fishing in like 3 weeks. We're doing a little bit of boat cleaning, but here's the Auto Trieve. So this is how it's set up. Obviously I drilled this hole underneath, you know, a hole through the deck of my boat. That little nut's mounted on the back side. Then here's this little nipple. It's got an adjustable height, but the whole mechanism is down below the boat. So this is all you're seeing on the front deck of the boat. It's super clean. It's super clean, and it's right here. I mean, it is so handy. You get hung up, you just reach down. You know, I'll have my graphs right here, but it sits right underneath my graphs. So you get hung up, you just reach down, you clip that sucker on. After you get it off, you know, you get your bait back, boom, it sits right there. It's not bouncing. It's not bouncing all over the boat like if you have a lure retriever on a rod and reel. It doesn't end up down here because you hit a couple waves and it bounces down. It's not knocking stuff over. It's safe and contained right here. This is 300-pound trolling motor, or 300-pound trout line. So it's going to last for quite some time. This is a proven lure retriever. So, you know, you get A-rigs back. A-rigs are like 50-50. Doug will tell you that. They're like 50-50, but you do get them back sometimes. But for like Ned rigs, Texas rigs, tubes, obviously crankbaits, spinner baits, anything that gets hung up, that lure retriever is worth a shot, and you get most stuff back. You really do. The only time you don't get something back is if it's hooked on a big wad of fishing line, maybe some boat carpet or something, or if you get a really spongy brush pile where you really can't use the leverage of the lure retriever to push against, you know, something solid. Sometimes like a spongy branch is kind of hard to get off. But I mean, and sometimes rocks, like if you get it wedged, if you get your bait like a jig wedged into a rock, you can't actually get the metal part of the lure retriever to the bait. It can't hit it. You will lose it sometimes. But I mean, literally, like, it seems like 85-90% of the time you can get your bait back. But that's with most lure retrievers. This really isn't about the lure retriever. It's about the actual delivery system of the lure retriever and how handy it is on the front of your deck. It takes like 30 minutes to an hour to install. It's super quick. Like I said earlier, you know, the hardest part is probably drilling that hole in the deck of your boat, but you do have options. Some people will drill a hole in the bottom of their pan here. Their trolling motor, this is a little bit smaller foot tray, but if you've got a little bit bigger trolling motor pan, you can definitely, well, you could probably come out right here too. You know, there's ways to do it to where you don't have to drill into the hole or the deck of your boat. And then if you've got a butt seat coming up, they've got that piece that will actually mount it right here. So, man, seriously, guys, if you got a boat, consider it. I can't remember what it costs. It's like 50 or 60 bucks. It's made in America, and I'm not making any money off this. Doug's just a buddy of mine. He's been making these for a long time, and I'm just really surprised that everybody doesn't have one. Everybody really needs one. We spend $90,000 on a boat. We spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on a boat, and there are little contraptions or little, I call them necessities. The thing's a necessity. There's just little things that we can add to our boat that they save you a ton of money. I mean, I'm serious. That thing has paid for itself. I've saved thousands of dollars with Auto Trive, and it was like a $60 investment. So it definitely pays for itself. Go to the website, luresaver.net. It's called an Auto Trive. Doug is a super good guy, super, super nice guy, great fisherman, great all-around guy. He, like I said, he makes them in his house, in his garage, made in America. But do yourself a favor, purchase one. It's well worth it. It'll make its money back in no time at all. Thumbs up if you appreciate the content. Subscribe to the channel. Got any questions? Let me know. And you can go to the Facebook page, luresaver.net, Auto Trive. He's got a Facebook page. I think he's got an Instagram. But you can go check that out. Till next time.